Right, so this is the model. I wrote this in 15 minutes, so I know it's definitely possible. Part of the reason why I could do it is because I already planned my answer out. So just beware, in that first 15 minutes of actually doing your reading, it's really, really important to make sure that you plan out question 4. Okay, you don't have time to come back to it, then make a plan, then write it. So I've already planned it out. My points are here: my first point, second point, third point. I've chosen my quotes. I've used different colour highlighters to help me differentiate them. This exam is all about efficiency, right? Being efficient and not wasting any time. Time is not our friend. Anyway, follow along. And what you can do is, as you hit each of these things, you can just tick them off, or you can mark them out or highlight them as you go. Okay. So, firstly, I agree that the story is very mysterious. So that is my what. Okay, that might seem really simple, but that's what gets you marks in this exam, right? Because, okay, underline where you've written the word because. You can write because or as, but you have to explain why. I agree that the story is very mysterious because the writer suggests the object Alice finds is amazing, but doesn't reveal what it is. Okay, fine, right? That's my why. I think it's this. Here is why. Okay, all of that is my how. Okay, analysis. So, how do they make it seem that way? Well, the writer uses the word. Notice I don't bother with adjective or whatever because it's complicated. It's a word, right? The writer uses the word glinting. I don't need more than that. That's what I need to make my point. So I'm not wasting my time quoting big sections. I'm only going to talk about this one word here, right? The writer uses the word glinting to describe how the object shines in the sun, suggesting it could be made out of a precious metal like gold or jewels, but also emphasise how it lures Alice towards it. It's glinting in the sun like a little light. Furthermore, the writer uses the simile of the giant hand. Now again, I could have written almost like it was placed by a giant hand, but it's too much, don't have time. So I'm just going to go the simile, almost like, right, the giant hand, to emphasise how the boulder that is covering the object is unhumanly large. This creates the idea that a god or mythical creature placed it there, right? That's it. Paragraph 1 done, right? You can see what I'm arguing, what I'm agreeing with, why, and then just loads of things that prove it or analyse it, okay? So you can mark on yours, where's your what, where's your why, where's your how, okay? If any of those are missing, you will get penalised, okay? Paragraph 2. Secondly, right, so I'm making it clear this is a new argument. Secondly, I agree that this discovery may be life-changing. Right, so there you go, that's my what. As the writer shifts to the future tense, explaining how Alice looks back at this moment and its importance. That's my why. Okay, the writer uses the phrase, now again, this is not a metaphor, this is the thing that happens, so I'm just going to use the word phrase. Sorry? Yeah, of course. The writer uses the phrase, Alice will look back, right? Alice, thank you. Alice will look back. So it's future tense, okay? To emphasise how this event has a huge importance, but is unclear whether the consequence is positive or negative. So we don't know what it's going to be, good or bad, but we do know that it will be in some ways life-changing. We know that Alice survives the experience, but at what cost? Furthermore, the writer uses the word choice over whether Alice should go or stay. So again, I've embedded these little quotes in to make it quicker, to emphasise how the decision has 2 consequences. This suggests that this moment represents a fork in the road for her that she will look back on. Okay. Now, I've agreed that it's life-changing, but I haven't really given a sense of what way I think it's going to go. Okay. Now, my third point is what I want to try and make that comment a little bit more insightful. So rather than disagree, I'm going to go further, right? So it's my final point. Finally, so paragraph number 3. Finally, it could also be argued, not I disagree, it could also be argued that although the object is mysterious, its impact on Alice's life is clearly negative, as the tone at the end of the extract becomes ominous and foreboding, right? So, there you go, my what. So I'm disagreeing here or giving them my own view, and my why there. explaining my reason behind that view. The writer uses the conditional sentence if. Any sentence that begins with if is a conditional. It could go one way or the other. It's conditional on a choice that's made. The conditional sentence, if she had played by the rules, to emphasise how Alice might be punished for her actions. Rules, or the word rules if you like, create images of obedience and punishment which suggests her decision will lead to negative outcomes. This also suggests she has a choice and is ultimately to blame. Finally, the writer uses a semantic field. So remember, a semantic field is just a group of words of threatening sounds. Now, if you want to use a semantic field, what you want to do is after you say what it is, so a semantic field of threatening sounds, you then want to quote them. The easiest way is do a little dash like that. Quote the words, scrape, whine, buzz, do a little dash, and continue your sentence to create an uncomfortable, ominous feeling to the end of the extract. As these noises accompany Alice digging for the object, it foreshadows the damaging effect it will have on her life. Okay, now that was all written, I won't lie to you, I hurt my hand a little bit, I wrote it pretty quick, but that was done in 15 minutes. I had 5 minutes spare that I could then go back, add to my question 2, add to my question 3. Okay, the reason I can do it that quick is because I was pre-planned. I had my plan. It was just copying it up. It was already planned out. So I have to emphasise that for this question, you have to make sure when you get to it that you know what you want to write, that you do that pre-planning stuff.